I want to talk to you about something that you just don't talk about in the pickup community, right? It's taboo. It's not to be discussed. Buying things for girls, right? Now, one of the biggest tenets I learned early on in my pickup career is you don't buy things for girls. You don't buy things for girls, right? Don't buy a girl a drink. Don't supplicate, right? I did a video, by the way, you can look it up on video. I did a video about supplicating and what that means exactly. But basically, supplicating is when you change your behavior for the girl in order to impress her. It's a little bit like qualifying to her, but especially like if you do her a favor in order to impress her or buy her something in order to impress her. And the reason why it talks so much about not buying things for girls in pickup is because most guys buy things to supplicate. Right? They're like, oh, the girl's not doing, she doesn't like me that much. Let me buy her a drink to win her over. Let me buy her flowers to win her over. Let me buy her a car to win her over, right? Hopefully most guys don't go that far, but some guys actually do. Some really rich guys, that's actually their game plan, right? And to be honest, it sometimes kind of works because a car is a pretty impressive gift. But the fact of the matter is it's coming from the wrong place, and it makes you into either the guy that she realizes you're low value and you're just trying very hard, or B, even if it does work, if it does win her over, you've won her over as the provider, as the beta male, that sort of a thing. And so you're going to be in that frame where she's going to expect you to continue buying things for her, to continue supplicating further in order to keep her around. And that tends to be a pretty bad frame, and it leads to relationships where the girl has a lot of power, the girl's pushing you around, the girl's nagging you, giving you a hard time. A lot of times guys are miserable, etc. And so that's why don't supplicate exists, and the specific don't buy a girl a drink, right? The idea that people have in their mind when they say don't buy a girl a drink is you're at a bar, you say, hey, what's up to a girl, and the girl goes, hey, do you want to buy me a drink? At that moment, when she doesn't know you yet and she's just asking you for something, if you buy her a drink, you're kind of being played, right? You're kind of being used for the drink, even if you're a cool guy, because she doesn't know it yet, and you're setting up a frame of, I have to do something for you in order to talk to you. You wouldn't talk to me just for me. Okay, so this is why, in general, the whole don't buy things for girls exists. Okay, now I'm going to tell you something that's a little controversial. I buy girls drinks all the time. Most girls that I pull same night, at some point in the interaction, I buy them a drink. Not all of them, but most. All right, and why do I do that? Because it's useful. Okay, it's useful. It helps with logistics. It's a good excuse to get them away from friends. It helps with setting the vibe that they and I are together and we're participating in something together. It helps to give the girl plausible deniability. I don't ever try and get girls drunk, but if a girl has a drink with me, she can justify that, we were partying, we were drinking, whatever. Also, a lot of times when I pick up girls for one night stands, it's at a bar, and what's the most normal thing to do at a bar? Have a drink, right? So when if she's drinking and her drink runs out, it makes sense to get another one. And if I am drinking or if I'm not drinking, it makes sense. That's something we can share. It's an activity to do together. There's also sort of that idea that if we've bought a drink together, we've decided and committed to be together for a period of time, not because she's obligated, but it just kind of socially, psychologically feels that way, and it puts us in this little bubble together, all right? So a lot of times I will do that, and it's very effective, right? And yes, I spend a little money on drinks, but I get girls home a lot faster than I normally would. I get girls home a lot smoother and a lot more reliably, and I don't lose the girls because it's one more tool that I have in my arsenal to make things happen, okay? So with this, I want to give you like the idea that game is not black and white, okay? Game's not black and white. It's not like this rule like never buy a girl something or always buy a girl something. There's a time and a place, okay? There's a time and a place where it's a good idea to spend some money on a girl. There's a time and a place where it's really not a good idea because it's setting the wrong frame or it's too expensive or whatever, okay? So how and why do I want to buy things for girls? Because I do buy things for girls sometimes, i.e. drinks and things like that, or things that are experiential in nature. Like say if I was at if we were walking through like a carnival or whatever and there was this roller coaster we could go on, by all means I'd go on the roller coaster with a girl because it's an exciting experience, it's fun for us, it's unique, that kind of a thing. And I wouldn't mind paying for the roller coaster because it's probably not that expensive and it smooths the process. And the other thing that paying will do, and this is very interesting, and this is something I've learned as I've become more affluent, is that paying in a certain sense does set up a vibe where you're taking care of the girl, you're protecting the girl, you're looking after her, right? And that is kind of an alpha quality, and that is something that is pretty effective. I remember a situation recently. I was with a girl, and she was actually a student, and she was didn't have that much money, and so we were on a date together, and she didn't order wine, she ordered beer. And I kind of made fun of her for it and this and that. And she's like, no, I just don't. She was foreign. She's like, I just don't like the American wine, whatever, that kind of a thing, right? And then later on in the date, we were going to go grab a bottle of wine to then go back up to my place. And I was like, we'll get some wine, or, if you prefer beer, because I remembered she'd done that before. She's like, no, I like the wine. It's so expensive. And I pulled her aside and I was like, hey, listen, like, I'm not trying to be like Mr. Baller or anything like that. I'm not trying to be the guy, that tries to show off money. But here's the thing, okay? The reason I work hard is so that I can do the things I want to do in life. And so when you're with me, we do the things we want to do. All right? I don't want, especially a bottle of wine that doesn't even cost anything, so who cares? That's a minor thing. But just in general, understand, if we're together and there's something that we could do that would be amazing, or something we do that we'd enjoy more, but it costs a little more, or something we could do that we wouldn't enjoy, my time is very valuable, and I want to enjoy things. So right now, that's my world, and you're in my world. So we're gonna go get wine. I'm gonna let you pick it out, and I want you to actually get what you enjoy. Don't try and get the most expensive thing just to get it or whatever. Don't show off that way. But get what you enjoy. Don't not get something because you're afraid. You're in my world right now. We're gonna have fun tonight. You good with that? She's like, I like being in your world, I think. Right? She's all dreamy and super turned on and whatever, right? And so it was good. And so for the price of a bottle of wine, which I was gonna buy anyway, right? Which, by the way, a liquor store, that's not that much money at all. I think it's maybe $20 or something like that. So for the price of a bottle of wine, what happened? What happened in that interaction? She feels taken care of. She feels safe. She feels like we're having it's about the experience. That's the thing, is I didn't make it about the money, I made it about the experience. But she feels like this is a special night when you can have an experience together. The whole you're in my world is really powerful, because when a girl sleeps with you, she's in your frame, right? Girls will do things with guys that they like that they would never contemplate doing otherwise. They'll do all kinds of things sexually. They'll do all kinds of things. They'll actually become a different person for the guy they like. And it's because they're in his frame, they're in his reality, in his world, and they're enjoying it. And so they just continue to go with it and let it happen, right? And so the more that you are the one leading, the one that you're the one making things happen, you're the one that's facilitating everything, that's them being in your world. And it's actually a powerful thing. It's actually a powerful thing to have them in your world. Now, does depend where it comes from. Going back to supplicating, if you're trying to force them in your world, you're please have a drink so you can be in my world and like me more, and I need you to have this and I want to make it, if you're doing it forcefully, if you're doing it with an agenda, if you're doing it in a way that's trying to show off rather than trying to have fun, and it's not for the experience, that's not going to be good. But when it is enhancing the experience, it is more fun, it is more intimate, and you are bringing them into your world, there actually is a certain power to that, okay? There actually is. And when you're first starting out, it is hard in a way, especially if you came from a very mainstream kind of provider-centric world. It is a little bit hard not to fall into the provider role. But once you become good enough at game, once you have enough experience with girls, you're going to get to a point where that's not a question anymore. You're going to get to a point where that's no longer an issue or a concern. You're not going to be treated like the beta male. Not because you have to fake that you're not one, but because you're just fucking not a beta male. You're just an alpha male, and it comes through everything you do. And at that point, you can give girls gifts. And when you do give girls gifts or drinks or whatever it is, you should be enjoying it. It shouldn't be fuck, it's Valentine's Day and I'm obligated and I hate my life. It shouldn't be like that. It should be how can I bring my girl more pleasure? Because she brings me so much pleasure. And because when she has pleasure, it pleases me, right? And if you're coming from that frame, then the gift is not supplicating. The gift is something you're doing for you as much as for the girl, right? I mean, to be fair, when I'm buying a bottle of wine, why am I getting wine instead of beer? It's because I don't even like beer, right? It's this is the experience I want to have, and we're going to have the best experience together, right? So it needs to be about the experience. It needs to come from the right frame, but there is a power to being in charge. There is actually an attractiveness to having money and being able to spend it to an extent. Now, don't go crazy with that. Don't lead with money or try and make that the thing impressing the girl. But look, girls do like guys with money more than they like guys without money, right? There's a right and a wrong way to use it, and there's one way that puts you in the provider frame and one way that puts you in the lover frame, right? You can be the dude gets used for drinks and flights and vacations and that kind of stuff and barely gets anything from the girls, or even used for that and doesn't get laid. Or you can be like Derek Jeter, Leonardo DiCaprio, who clearly have money and show the girl a good time and bring them into this time, and actually do probably spend some money, not directly on them, but they spend a lot of money on lifestyle, and the girls are part of that lifestyle. So there is money being spent, but it's being spent in the right way and from the right frame for the experience rather than for the tangible. And in a way where it's like, I want to do this, not I need to do this, or I wouldn't be enough without doing it. That's the key distinction.